Welcome back, everyone. You got to hear a little bit of the behind-the-scenes talk from the casters at the end of that one. My bad on that one. But overall, great first game coming through from Dino Club. My name is RareAdam. Alongside me is Wee Wizard here for Game 2 of Dino Club versus Glacial Global. And hope you're all enjoying this broadcast. And just quick thoughts on Game 1.
Yeah, a little bit of a slaughter. I mean, that much is obvious. I mean, 32-5 doesn't happen in your average Joe game. But take a look at the bans coming out. I think we should be seeing Lee Sin, possibly Kassadin banned. Yeah, there's the Xin Zhao and Kassadin. Maybe Lee Sin followed up in the third. I think Lee Sin and Kassadin were definitely the two biggest threats from that last game. Unless they have a new strategy to deal with the Lee Sin, hopefully gets banned as well. But from the side of Dino Club, they're chilling. They're banning the same stuff. Echo, Iron, probably Yone again. Yeah, and as predicted, there's the Lee Sin ban. No surprises there. Just want to get those off the table, saying, yeah, okay, we're fine. We didn't ban you last match. You carried. We got it. Now you're banned. Let's see what else you have to offer. And Dino Club just banning the same stuff. They're just chilling.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to go back with it because it didn't. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Glacial Global definitely targeting the Delightful Jews Lee Sin there, as well as Duplas on that Kassadin. Obviously, didn't have any fear picking that, and not really giving a damn about what the matchup was, to say the least. But the Leona going to get first picked here, as Dino Club, they're just going to run it back quick time with that Nami Lucian.
Yep, they see the Leona and they're like, okay, you picked the Leona. We're just gonna snag the Nami Lucian once again. We were comfortable in that bot lane. I think if they play a little bit safer this time, or at least have better vision, just so they don't fall for the level 2 Jarvan 4 gank again, which was pretty costly. Not ultimately in the game of the match, but it did hurt them in the short run in terms of laning phase. Ezreal did get ahead off of that. And Glacier Global is going to respond with the Tristana to pair up with this Leona. What do you think about that bot lane combo?
It's definitely interesting considering the Leona gets picked up, and Nami is generally seen as a very good pick into Leona, at least in my experience, because you know exactly where she's going to be, and that's something that Nami really appreciates. Same thing with a Thresh, you know exactly where he's going to be hooking from because he stays still for a while. So interesting to see the Leona Tristana come into that Nami, who has a lot of disengage potential with that tidal wave. But Jarvan once again coming through for Wonderbrat. I don't think the Jarvan was the issue that game. I think it was more so the Lee Sin that was the issue on the flip side. So we'll have to see how they reply this time around for Delightful Jew. And thus far, how do you feel about Glacial's draft? Because it feels like they're drafting very similar to last game, just switching a couple of variables.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they pick up the Ornn too. They're confident, right? They're confident in their last composition on the champs they're playing. And unfortunately, they can't complete the roster because Lisa and Cassidy are banned. But Dino Club's saying, okay, you can ban us in the first round, but we're just going to pick up the same comp that you didn't ban. And we're just going to try and replicate our success from game one and clean it off in a nice 2-0.
Yeah, in some ways, just throwing down the gauntlet and saying, you can ban out mid and jungle all you want. They don't really interest us in early picking. We will just pick what worked and will continue to work supposedly in game 2 with that Nami Lucian and Ornn. They played to their win conditions. They didn't have to do anything insane. And we saw that Rim Almighty later on into the game was doing a decent amount of damage. Bluff was just a big tank. But the Graves getting picked up for Delightful Jew here, kind of going with the same theme of junglers where if you get a lead, you are very hard to deal with.
Yeah, this Graves, I think it has the same potential as this Lee Sin does, where if you play it right, you can have the invade potential, you have the gank potential, you have the dragon solo potential. Otherwise, you're just going to grow into an unstoppable AD threat. And what is this from Glacial Global? We see Yorick being picked up. I don't think that's a mistake.
Is that real?
I think it's real. It's not a hallucination. I think I'm awake. Maybe I'll just pinch myself just to make sure.
Yeah, well, oh my god, yeah, it's real. I just double checked because I was like, Yorick.
It's a weird pick.
What? What? I think this is AP Varus mid.
Just on a mid.
I think it's AP Varus mid. I don't know.
Really?
I have an inkling of a feeling that this might be coming through. This is
No shot. It's got to be Tristan mid, but then again, they would be all AD. So
yes,
is
very.
AP Varus even a thing?
It is AP Varus.
Okay. AP
You
Malphite mid. They see it. They just respond with the
yeah.
AP Malphite.
What is going on? I am
No, they picked the Malphite because they think it's all AD. Because you see
yes.
Tristana, Jarvan, Yorick, Varus. Definitely a good pickup, I think, on the Malphite. Okay, so the thing about this York, right? If it's versus the Ornn, it's just Ornn win, like just can't die, right? If Yorick places up his walls, Ornn just E's and breaks it down, because his E destroys player-made terrain. So Ornn, like Yorick's trading pattern, right? Is he builds up his ghouls, and then he puts up his wall, and then he throws the E mist, and then because a favorable trade, because the player in the circle has to decide, okay, do I trade back to Yorick and die, or do I hit the wall and take half my HP and live? So it's basically a lose lose situation. But Ornn has a get out of jail free card with his E, right? He can break the wall and just walk away. Um,
Yeah, I think
but
it's going to be an interesting game overall because we have a Yorick, we have what could be a Varus mid lane with the Tristana. They're interchangeable. The Malphite could be Ornn mid for all we know, an AP Malphite top, or there are a lot of options coming through. But Yorick is interesting here because we see a lot of team fight coming out
yeah,
from Glacial, and then there's just Yorick.
yeah, definitely not the strongest team fighter from the top lane. I mean, Yorick is known to be, one of the most proficient split pushers. But maybe we're going to see some maiden action, right? Yorick can cast maiden into a side lane, and then you get a free split push going while you can join the team fights and be useful by yourself. But overall, Glacial Global's comp just it gives me very, very similar feelings as the first game, right? They have no actual frontline. While Dino Club have this tank Malphite, they have the tank Ornn, unless it's AP Malphite, but then they still have the Ornn. And while they have this sort of pick potential, I would say on the side of Glacial, I don't think their team fight is good enough. I think Dino just outclasses them in nearly every way.
Yeah, I think
And I
that
think you're right. It is a Varus mid.
yeah, it's gonna be Varus mid, and I guess we'll walk
Hopefully
down.
AP.
I just realized we are not hovering at client draft, but there we go. There's client draft, and I have everything backwards. Man, it's been a long week. That's my excuse. There we go. Everything is fixed. Yeah, Varus mid lane. Effectively, you get AP ratios on your W, you get AP ratios on your R. Gives you a little bit more burst potential when it comes to tank killing because you're able to pop the percent health damage, which does scale off of AP. You end up still going man immune because it's a good item, but overall it is an interesting angle to take a look at, especially since if this Malphite is going mid lane and we're going under the assumption it's AP just to provide some sort of magic damage, Varus might have a little bit of a tough time because of Malphite's all-in potential, whereas Varus wants to
Yeah.
keep them at arm's length. So should be interesting to see how that all works out. But once
Yeah,
again,
I mean, I've seen AP Malphite mid shred these squishy mid laners through barrier, through exhaust. It doesn't matter. Malphite is going to slap you either way with his unstoppable force.
yeah, it kind of spanks the ground and then slows your attack speed, throws a cheese wheel at you, and then literally just shoulder checks the crap out of you, and you go flying into the air. Like it would hurt to get hit by a rock. Just saying. But just gonna ask you once again, straight up, who's taking game 2 here?
I, you know, I'm leaning towards Dino, just because. I mean, we're just looking at Glacial's draft, I just don't see synergy, right? I don't see what they're trying to do. They have so many different ways that it's like an octopus, right? It has all these different arms that are trying to each do their own thing, right? You have the Yorick top, you have the Varus mid, then you have the Chistana Leona bot, and then Jarvan's just like flying around. He's maybe the head. When you look at Dino, they're more like a pencil. I don't know. Like they seem to have a much more linear idea of what their composition is trying to do. And as we saw last game, they're very, very good at executing it. While Glacial, they can get the early lead in laning phase, but once the laning phase ends, they're just kind of, wishy-washy. They don't really have the finishing potential.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we Wizards will predictions will come true, or if it will just be the caster curse as usual, because we always end up caster cursing this stuff. Let's be real. But regardless, we're gonna head to a quick break, and we'll see exactly what happens on the opposite side between Glacial Global and Dino Club. Don't go anywhere. You're watching BTL. And welcome back onto the Rift with Game 2 of Dino Club versus Glacial Global. And once again, I have the overlay backwards. My name is RareAdam. Alongside me is Wee Wizard. And after a very strong performance in Game 1 from Dino Club, they're looking to run it back and take this handily in a 2-0. And we were talking about in draft how we've got a couple of really interesting picks coming through, and we're hoping that they actually come through, specifically the AP Malphite and the AP Varus.
Yeah, I think both of these picks are a little crucial in providing that AP damage, because both of these teams are very AD heavy otherwise. I think especially on this Varus, this relies because Dupless on the Malphite. Malphite does AP damage regardless, even if he goes tank, but I just want to see it for the memes, to be completely honest with you.
We want to see the fun builds, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And Varus going barrier, which is technically the right choice. Although, as I said, we do see squishy mid laners, even with barrier, they can get absolutely popped by an AP Malphite in the right circumstances. But keep an eye on this top lane. This Yorick, I would say, is probably one of the most interesting picks of this match. Yorick generally not seen in competitive play just because of his heavy split pushing potential, with a less sort of lean onto team fighting. But who knows? Maybe Nova Solstice is something we don't, right? I think Yorick has potential, but the problem with me is he just doesn't really fit in with Glacial's team comp overall.
Yeah, we sort of have 4 team fighters into, oh my goodness,
Malphite AFK?
Oh no, not like this, no.
Oi, oi, oi. Solo Bolo in the mid lane. Very, very sad.
They pause and unpause it again.
It's too late. By the time it registers you as disconnected, he was already dead.
Yeah, it feels bad, man.
Yeah. That's not good. Varus picking up the first blood. It's not a good omen potentially. Yeah, there's the blasting wand right off the bat. You'd love to see it.
Yeah, there's blasting wand. So as we expected, it is going to be AP Varus in that mid lane. Going to get a little bit more of an advantage than we expected due to the first blood there, but hopefully Malphite can get back on their horse and get that all cleaned up. But for the time being, this is the first gold lead that we've actually seen out of Glacial Globals.
Yep, and a little bit of a cheese one at that, but Malphite maybe in trouble again.
Oh, yeah. This feels bad for Dupless here. Gets taken down after a disconnect, then gets ganked right after, forced to burn that flash. Yeah. So Glacial Globals are taking no prisoners this time around, and if we had a Silas on the enemy team, it would be purely fitting, because right now they are just trying to put this mid lane on lock.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see the Yorick getting lane cryo, which is not unexpected just because of him being, oh my god.
And the regank once again. Dupless is crying in the club. Lost in. Echo's going to go under that tower, flash forward to pick up that second kill. And yeah, where is your honor is the reply there. But Delightful June now going up onto Lost and Echoes. But all of those minions in the way are absolutely ridiculous and so unlucky. Any other champion, and he picks up that kill. But unfortunately, Graves is going to go down. And that's a 3-0 mid lane Varus right now. But up on the top side, Bois winning out on this trade here onto Nova Solstice. Both flashes are used by those top laners. But the Yorick, we expected to have a little bit more laning capability. Forced to burn that flash and will be forced to teleport back as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just Graves, unfortunately, having your autos being stopped by minions. Ouchie. Well, that's the first time I've ever seen that Jarvan recall. That's so majestic. I love it.
Yeah, Jarvan just kind of sitting in his sandcastle.
He's just chilling. Yeah. And wow, that Yorick damage with the grasp and the sheen. Ouch. Those Qs hit like a truck. And yeah, but Varus 3-0. Not not how you want to be starting off the game if you're Dino.
Yeah, you're going to be feeling a little bit of that pressure now against you as, Malphite has that Dark Seal, which makes us believe it's going to be that AP Malphite to an extent, but at the same time, you're already down to this Varus who has the tier as well as that Blasting One and the Hextech Alternator, so might be going for Night Harvester. Interesting option, but nonetheless, I think we're going to see a lot of damage coming out from Lost and Echoes here. Obviously feels confident enough to pick it in this matchup, so we'll have to keep our eye on that.
Yeah, what does AP Varus normally go?
I've seen Ludens, I've seen... There's a couple of different builds. Of course, it's not very common, but it's definitely an option. I know it was something that I saw a lot. Oh, goodness. Actually, Boaf just going to faceplant into the wall. Unfortunately, unable to break it, but going to get that Horn down.
Some weird interaction there somehow.
Yeah, it didn't work out as I
think he E'd a little bit. Oh, okay. You know what I think? I think Ornn E'd too early, and then the York wall displaced him out of the dash.
Oh, interesting. But on this bot side now, Alyssa going very aggressive under this tower, taking a bunch of turret shots, and Delightful Jew has showed up. Going to be a great bubble landing onto V Station as well as they try and rocket jump out of there. Here comes the exhaust down and the stun from Soulless Alyssa onto Delightful Jew, but there's still enough mobility coming through from this Lucian to be able to clean that up. V Station forced to flash out as well, and the Lucian Nami combo coming through in spades. This time, actually getting those kills a little bit before their enemies, so working out in their favor.
Yep, and unbeknownst to Graves, Wonderbat has had his revenge for the first game, and he snagged the Graves red buff.
Yes, is able to steal away the red buff from Graves, so Wonderbrat getting a little bit of revenge there. But at the end of the day, gotta still be careful of this Graves, because we thought with the Fleet Footwork it was going to be a Shield Bow, Bloodthirst, or something like that, but a looks like might be building towards the Youmu's or the Eclipse early on here, so very aggressive in terms of the build.
Yep, and just taking a quick look across the board, I'm surprised that CS is pretty much dead even. Malphite being ahead in CS despite being 0-2. Props to him. York with the Maiden, gonna be chunking out some damage onto Buff in the top lane.
Yeah, thus far it has been definitely going more in favor of Glacial Globals, up about 1,500 gold at the 8-minute mark, and with Rift Herald now spawning and York on your top side, you know what that means? You probably
lose
just
going
first tower
for the
very
Rift.
soon. Yes, it is the power. Ooh, but actually in this mid lane here, goodness, a whole bunch of damage going to come back in return, and that's really unfortunate for that Malphite. They get the shutdown onto the Graves, but man, this AP Varus is going to be nice and scary for the rest of the game now.
Yeah, absolutely. York just casually soloing the Rift Herald unspotted. Great play by him.
As well, for the record. So just
Jarvan,
walked
no.
up, but Wonderbrat now in a little bit of trouble. Gets hit by that bubble. Delightful Jew going to try and rotate over, but Coach Kirk, without the tidal wave quite yet, means they can't quite finish up the kill. So Wonderbrat going to be able to get away with murder there. Able to steal that blue buff, I believe, and get out.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Graves didn't actually go for the blue buff, although he did pick up the Varus shutdown. So that's probably worthwhile for him in that regard. And it is an AP Malphite. He's building amplifying tones.
Yeah, might be the Everfrost
going all in the
build
top lane
that we saw out of Fudge, but yep, that is Rift Herald getting popped onto that tower, and Yorick with the Maiden still up and available. Boff taking a decent chunk of damage just out of those Maiden procs, but Rift Herald's gonna get 3 plates up on that top side, and this is the lethality that Yorick has, not in terms of kill pressure, but in terms of tower killing, as first item actually comes through in the game, and it will be that Youmu's for the Graves.
Yeah, and that's far shut down for you. big gold over to the Graves. And Youmu, so I like the changes that they made to it, making it a popular first option. Very refreshing to see something beyond the mythic rush that most champions just do.
Yeah, they're going to... I mean, Youmu's is such a strong item and for such a low cost that a lot of times Assassins recently have just been going for that first item. A lot of junglers specifically, but in this mid lane now, we're going to get ourselves a little bit of a 2v2. Delightful Jew going to try and chase down Wonderbrat. Dupless has the Unstoppable Force, going to use that onto the Jarvan. They've got enough damage, and before The Jarvan can even ult. It's going to be Dupless getting on the board, getting some revenge for all of that camp earlier, and that's some good gold going back into the Malphite here.
Yeah, and you didn't even need the collateral fort damage there. But Leona going in.
Oh, yeah, Leona going to get the Solar Flare onto 2 of them. And Tristana jumping right in, but she is exhausted right off the bat. Coach Kirk taken down very low as V-Station looks for that last little bit of damage. But Rem Almighty, oh my goodness, the knockback from Tristana, the last tick of Ignite, takes down Coach Kirk. But now here comes Delightful Jew looking to clean this one up. V-Station going to get taken down, and Delightful Jew going to come down and shoot Soulless Alyssa in the back. Shotguns are pretty good items against the apparently Leona, so going to be a 2-for-1 in the end, and the Dino Club are actually able to even up a little bit of an unfortunate early game for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely, and considering most of the gold lead is due to this Yord getting 3 turret plates, I think it's fairly safe to say that Dino do have a nice...
Oh, Wonderbrat gonna steal that over the wall with the flag and drag, but it might be in just to go down
though.
at the end. Yeah, it's gonna be Graves picking up his 3rd kill of the game, and Delightful Jew may not be on point with the smite. Of note, it wasn't even close in terms of the smite. Just realized that Graves had not upgraded the smite yet, which was... I dare say pivotal in that situation. So kind of an easy smite steal for Wonderbrat, but kind of unfortunate for the side of Delightful Jew.
To be fair, a kill for Cloud Dragon, that's probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
If you're Dino. Now you have the opportunity to take up 4 Mountain Dragons, make this Ornn the biggest boy on the planet. I've played Ornn with quadruple Mountain Dragon, and it is so fun. I mean, you get like 400 of each resistance. It's incredible. You're just... I think Ornn is probably the tankiest late game champion, maybe rivaled only by Sion potentially. But Ornn just gets so many resistances once he gets to level 17 from upgrading his allies, his mythic. He can be pretty unstoppable. Doubly unstoppable when he's in his W.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how the rest of this game is going, because up on the top side, despite York getting all of that pressure onto the turret, it's still relatively even in terms of the CS, all things considered. Rim going to be forced back after the explosive charge, but in the end, York will take his first victim, which is that top lane tower, and I dare say we expected it just as we said, oh, he hasn't taken it yet. Gets some rotations up and takes that down.
Yeah. Yeah, the saying, laning phase isn't over for York until he takes the top inhibitor. So, should be seeing him stay pretty much topside for most of the time, unless he decides to do some team fighting. And, having picked up this Divine Sunderer, it's going to be very, very difficult for Ornn to match him in the split push, and he may just be dead.
Yeah, Ornn actually in a lot of trouble, taking a lot of damage from the Maiden, forced to flash away, burned that exhaust as well, so that's going to be 3 summoners down on that Ornn, all things considered, as the teleport used, the flash used, as well as that exhaust that was swapped over, so a little bit of an unfortunate time for the Ornn right now as York continues his journey up on the top side.
Yep, and that's going to be, quite a sum of gold in his pocket. I really like the change that Riot made. I don't think it's recent anymore, but they increased the local gold of the Tier 2 top and bot towers to 550 gold, which is quite a big sum of money for these split pushers like York. I mean, he's sitting on 2,000 gold right now just from taking that turret and minions. I mean, he's still 0-0-0 with only a 200... with only a 20 gold lead, yet he has a 2,000 gold lead just from these plates and turrets. And he's going to be a pretty decent monster coming into this game. And, he's just going for the second Rift Herald. The Graves, maybe? No! Graves is just continuing to walk mid.
Yeah, Graves is just going to continuously go towards this mid lane and try and take advantage, but under his nose, unfortunately, Nova Solstice just going to take another objective.
No, Graves!
The main thing I'm worried about at this point is the side of Glacial. They have so much tower taking potential. Rim is in a lot of trouble though here. The exhaust going to come down, flag and drag. That is a late cleanse as Coach Kirk, now the next one on the menu. Unfortunately tonight, Glacial Globals are going to be doing it old school with the sushi, and they're going to pick themselves up another kill, and this gold lead is starting to ramp up very quickly. I want to say we've kind of cast or cursed the teams in terms of our predictions here. Game one, we were like, yeah, no, Glacial got this, and Dino Club walk away. This game, we say, yep, Dino Club, they've got the better comp, and AP Varus picks up the first 4 kills of the game, and now this York is just wreaking havoc across the map. Now going to be going to that bot side to take some more victims.
Yeah, I think that first blood onto the Malphite may have doomed this mid lane matchup quite extremely, causing it to lead to an unfortunate series of events, as one might say. And I wouldn't discount them quite yet. You have a big lead on Graves, you have a big lead on Lucian. It's winnable, right? This Varus, at the end of the day, isn't that far ahead, and I think the Yorick has the majority of his team's gold. Yeah, there you see the 150 gold bounty, despite being 0-0-0. And that's just due to the gold from these towers, and he is a little susceptible, I would say, to multiple people. But Jarvan looking for an engage here.
Yeah, Jarvan looking for the engage as Nova Solstice started to take part in this fight, looking for that damage down onto Boif, and now they're going to get their first assist of the game. V-Station picks up the kill onto the Ornn, but Delightful Jew now forced to get out of there. Here come all of these little Mooglets coming forward, but oh my goodness, Leona scores a field goal. Fortunately not going to get any points, but Nova Solstice going to slam the hammer down on top of that fish. Once again, it is a 2-for-0 for the side of Glacial Globals, and they continue their trek around the map, the long march, as York would say, I dare say, picking up a kill and an assist there, and now increasing the pressure that he's going to have in that side lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be dragon number 3.
Look at the damage from the midgets coming through. I don't know what to call them. What are they? I call them the ghouls. The ghouls, yeah. As V-Station is on a killing spree, going to be popping that down, and unfortunately for this Lucian, has not had the same effect as last game. This Tristana definitely working out as the pick, but Rift Herald number 2 going to come down and come knocking down on the door of their tier 2 once again. Delightful Jew looking aggressive here, but Solus Alyssa not taking a whole lot of damage on this Leona. Boif is showing up, but no Ornhorn yet. Has popped the Ghost to try and catch up. Looks like Alyssa's going to be the sacrificial Leona here to save the rest of the team, as Jarvan able to get out of there, but they're going to donate that kill over to Delightful Jew, who is starting to work towards that shield bow now.
Yep, and Yorick picking up the Hull Breaker. He's going to be a monster in these side lanes. I've played Yorick top, and once you get to these 2 items, you can pretty much 1v2, 1v3 pretty comfortably. And it's really fun to do, I'm going to be honest. And there's really nobody on the side of Dino that can contest him at this point in the side lane. He's so far ahead that they really need, like, a lot. But
Jubilus, no, unfortunately misses the ult onto the Varus, and now taking a whole bunch of damage, but is able to pick up that kill. Rimo Muddy actually takes down Wonderbrat, but V-Station is able to turn that around, and all of the damage coming through from the York is incredible to see. Delightful Jew going to get taken down by another slap from the hammer, and they're able to turn around and make it a 2-for-2, an even play overall, but oh my goodness, that ghoul damage was insane.
Well, so that was just the consequence of. I think the fight was okay. I mean, 2-for-2, you get some shutdowns, but you see you have the Maiden in the top lane just pushing, while you're getting things done mid lane, and you're TPing to the fight. So this is pretty significant for the side of Glacial.
Yeah, they're able to pick up a fairly significant buff for themselves there, by getting now York on 2.5 items, as directed camera now just wants to watch the ghoul, because the ghoul's just kind of following along. York's always saying he's hunting alone, but that isn't really the case here. York's got a couple of friends, which is nice to see. Always got to make sure you got some friends around you, but you can just see how open this map is now because of this. York has been so devastating in these side lanes. What does the side of Dino Club have to do to try and counter that aggression now?
They really just need to play around numbers, I think, which is the opposite of this.
Yeah, Delightful Jew getting caught out just a little bit, able to drop the flowers and get out of there with that Ghost Blade. But yeah, Nova Solstice just able to sit in these side lanes, going to probably be pinging that Hullbreaker, wanting to hunt alone for this entire time. But it is going to be very difficult for the side of Dino Club to get back into this one. It's a 5,000 gold lead for the side of Glacial Globals, and this York pick, we thought it was a joke from the beginning. And all of a sudden, it is the richest member in the game by a long shot at this point. Richer than the Tristana by 700 gold, and then richer than everyone else by more than 1,000. So shocking, but I dare say
it's
the pick is shocking. The gold lead is not shocking.
Yeah. The pick is shocking in the fact that it's unusualness, but I do think that Dino have been a little bit lax in terms of actually punishing it. So, right, like you have the Malphite that sort of unfortunately lost this mid lane just due to a disconnect, and then you see bot lane not quite able to keep up, right? This Tristana 450 gold bounty. And just overall CS leads, apart from the Graves, it's just not looking good across the board, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not looking amazing for them at this stage, but Graves is really their saving grace. 4-2 and 4 has done well in this game, despite having a little bit of a rough time constantly having to go mid lane in some ways, but 4-2 and 4, that's 88% kill participation, and just looking to get a little bit more under their belt. Right now, they're also facing Soul, I just realized, but Nova Solstice up on this top side of the map. They're going to have to try and force a fight as Dino Club.
Yeah.
Soul Alyssa going to be the one to get caught out. Aftershock was procced extremely early, unable to get out of there as Coach Kirk is trying to kite this one out, but it will be Rim picking that up. But on the top side, it's just a top diff right now.
York is ending the game.
Wonderbrad will be taken down, but Nova Solstice is going to be going up against Bluff, and I don't think the York minds that. This is going to be one Nexus turret taken down as a Hullbreaker is coming into effect in full force here. Coach Kirk has now shown up as well, and they might be able to take down this York, but the wall going to come through as well. Here comes the Ornhorn, going to come down, take Nova Solstice down, but the heals are coming through from that Divine Sunderer, and finally this York will be meeting his ghouls down there in the depths after a little bit more. Ornn able to get that shutdown, but Dupless forces the flash out of Lost and Echoes. They're able to pick up that dragon, and they get dragon, but at what cost?
Yep, I mean, you take down the top inhib, you lost one of your Nexus turrets, but you did stave off Dragon Soul for 5 minutes. So it's not the worst situation you could be in, right? If York had taken top and you still lost Soul, that would have been really, really bad. Luckily, you did get the Dragon, so not the worst set of occurrences that could be happening. But Jarvan coming in.
Ooh, here comes
Power
the
Glass.
Corruption. It comes through from Dupless, but look at that damage coming through from the AP. Vera's able to get those procs down. Remote Mighty taking down to 400 HP, and this is going to be Jarvan into the backline, landing a double kill with that Cataclysm. Bluff now running for the hills as V-Station goes unstoppable, picks up the 5th kill of the game, and now Delightful Jew is on the run. Really good tidal wave to stall out that fight from the Nami, but it's still 3 kills going over to the side of Glacial, and look at who wasn't in that fight. It was the Yorick, and what is Yorick doing?
He's just bot lane. Look at that Demolished proc, taking half the turret's HP. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and
what a monster.
Coach Kirk has
Nami.
anything to answer
Nami,
this. Oh
you're
my
just
goodness,
gone.
the ghouls are doing so much damage as well. She will be able to swim away from that one with her life, but Delightful Jew trying to kite this one out. Really happy he's got that fleet footwork at this stage, but Nova Solstice on this bot side, drawing the attention of all of these members. Rim Almighty taking down a bunch of damage from 1Q. Oh my goodness, Nova Solstice almost able to complete it, but it will be Rim getting that big shutdown once again. Actually, there wasn't even a shutdown, unfortunately, but is able to pick up that kill. They lose Baron, but they save the game. And it's just, it keeps being these trades that are just all going in favor of the side of Glacial Global here.
Yep, and York picking up his 3rd item, the Sterag's Gauge. You thought he was unkillable before? Yeah, wait till he gets a 50% HP shield when he tries to 1v4 next time. Oh my gosh. And, you know, with this Baron buff, Glacial just be 4-1ing that. They're going to 4 people going to be running down mid. York's probably going to be bot side. And Dino are going to be a heap of trouble as they try to counter these pushes.
Yeah, they're going to try and counter these pushes, but against a Baron buffed Maiden, Hullbreaker, Yorick.
No, Yorick. The Maiden doesn't get Baron buffed.
I mean, he doesn't get Baron buffed, and I just also realized that Yorick did die, so no Baron buff on that. But regardless, here comes the fight in that mid lane. Wonderbrat taking a whole bunch of damage as Alyssa going to go on to Boff, but here comes a great tidal wave once again. Not going to land onto Alyssa as Boff taken down very low, but Rim is able to clean that up as a huge arrow comes down onto Coach Kirk, taking him down to 200 HP. So that's the first pick of the fight for the side of Dino Club. They're able to get one, but is that going to be enough? They're pushing with that Baron as Rim tries to stave off this wave, but Lucian doesn't have the best wave clear overall. He needs a lot of mana to clear out that wave. Delightful Jew going to try and help out here, but Dupless looking around the side, looking to try and find some sort of plank, but it doesn't look like they're going to find it. They will take that victory as now the Maiden is the one to split push all on her lonesome in that bot side.
Yeah, and very smart play by Yorick, dropping the Maiden in the side lane. Going to be providing so much pressure just by itself while you still have the Yorick in the mid lane. And that's going to be 2 lanes being pushed just by 1 champion.
Yeah, 2 lanes getting pushed by that, but Dupla's going to take down Lost and Echoes to start off that fight. V-Station has picked up another kill for themselves. The Tristana has quietly gone 6-1-3 at 3 items right now, but it is a 1-for-1 thus far, and the Maiden is still pushing down on that bot side. 4v3 in this mid lane as Soulless Alyssa going to try and rejoin this fight, but V-Station with enough range to really chunk out this inhibitor as now the Maiden is starting to auto-attack down that. Oh my goodness, look how fast it's going down from the Maiden!
Maiden! What? MVP to Maiden.
Maiden's broken, man.
Everyone's gangster until Maiden destroys her inhib. Oh, gosh. And Dragon Soul coming up 30 seconds. Uh-oh.
I think the worst part about all of it is that all you hear is the meowing coming from Meowrick the entire time as V-Station jumps in. What is this? Cody suns it as he goes down. But it is the way to start off a fight as here comes the damage from Wonderbrat, able to pick up Coach Kirk once again, and here comes Nova Solstice into the front line. Boff is trying to tank up as much as possible, but Dupless has arrived. No unstoppable force quite yet. This is going to be a really good wall to block everyone out, but it might not be enough as Delightful Jew with enough healing and Boff with enough tankiness might have enough damage to take this down. Soulless Alyssa being taken down to about 150 HP, but the walls once again are enough. Here comes that damage from AP Varus chunking out Boff as the chain of corruption goes through, and these blight procs are doing so much damage, and they're able to stave it off. They look so good for the side of Dino Club for that little bit, but man, those cages from the Yorick are so difficult to get through.
Yeah, and I like how Nova Solstice did go for W max second instead of E max. I love W max second just because it improves the strength of the walls from 2 to 5, so it takes 5 auto attacks just to clear the wall. And it looks like he's trying to go for the soul. Can he get it? Oh, the window to 66.
Yeah, not able to clean that one up, and it is the Ornn who's took it, even though he didn't have his smite up and available from Spellbook. So Dupla is going to pick up that kill onto Nova Solstice once again. And Dino Club are really able to stay alive for a really long time in this fight. Delightful Jew, though, going to be taken down by V-Station once again as the fight starts to turn. Here comes the tidal wave onto that backline, going to land onto 2 of them, and V-Station is taken incredibly low. Buhoff is able to stay alive despite all of that great heal coming through from Coach Kirk as Rimmel might be able to pick up another kill, and that's another one as well. The Lucian is 10-3-3.
But look at their base. Look at their base.
But
the
look
scoopers.
at the base. There are so many super minions as Wonderbrat is just trying to stall out Dupless. If we look over at that base, there is nothing left apart from the Nexus Tower, which is going down. Minions are doing overtime, and as York falls, his minions will do his bidding. They're going to have to clean up that minion wave. They pick up 3 for 1 as Dupless just still getting stuck here fighting Wonderbrat for as long as possible. He's going to try and get out of this one. Dupless flashed it over. Oh my goodness, the Gore Drinker heal comes through and Wonderbrat able to outplay it. And the kills don't tell the story of this game. The kills have been even from the beginning, but looking at this towers, it is 11-0 right now in towers. Yep. And I think a huge part of that is due to our good old friend York Mori.
Glacial have not lost a single tower, although you do see only a slight bit of HP, 169 on the mid lane turret, but still, it's still standing. And, you know, with 2 inhibitors down for the near future, Yorick just going top, pressuring, maybe releasing Yorick. Yeah, he releases the Maiden top, and he's going to go mid, team with this for this Baron. This Maiden pushing top, you have to send someone to contest it, right? and Malphite's walking mid, right? He has the TP. Ornn doesn't have TP. So if they contest, they need someone to stop the Maiden from ending the game.
Yeah, because right now...
They're all walking to the Baron.
Yeah,
Maiden!
this Baron's
Someone
already
stop the
taken
Maiden.
down to under half HP. Delightful Jew's going to have to make a miracle steal over the wall, but it won't happen. It's just a little bit too late as now he's forced to run away from Wonder Brat. Has the Cataclysm up and available. Going to try and lock down Delightful Jew, but going to go into that... Ooh, Guardian Angel. I cannot...
Nice.
Ooh, Dupless misses that,
Guys,
but is able to
Maiden
pick that one up.
ending the game.
But yeah, Maiden is
Guys,
ending
Maiden
the
is ending the
game.
game.
Oh my goodness, this Maiden is just pushing this wave, is able to pick up the third inhibitor, and now the base is wide open. And Nova Solstice dropping down the ooh-woo, saying, thank you for killing my Maiden, just a little bit too late. And now it is the defense of the Alamo, so to speak. This base is quite literally a desert. And the side of Glacial Global just need to push it in, but oh my goodness, this is scary.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be triple inhib down for the near future. You see these double. Oh no, not in time. We see one wave of double supers coming in the top side. But otherwise, the bot and mid inhibitors are respawning, so no more supers. But with this Baron buff, this is Glacial's time to end the game. I mean, this Nexus is wide open. All it's going to take is just Yorick probably to get a good angle, and he can probably solo end the game. Otherwise, going to be a little bit extra action until they find that opportunity.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of this game is going to turn out, because right now, with the base completely exposed, they've always got to be careful about taking these fights. Wonderbrat going to get out of there with the flag and drag, but Yorick is still on this top side, looking a little bit scary. So as the side of Dino Club try and retreat out to their base, they've got to be so careful that this Yorick can just end the game at a moment's notice. But Coach Kurt going to come through with buff here. They're going to try and take the fight to the Yorick here. Lots of members coming down, and Rim Almighty with a lot of damage at this stage of the game. 4 complete items, but I don't know if they have enough. Look at the rest of the team, though. They might just be running it down into the base. Nova Solstice stays alive for so long with all of that healing as Delightful Jew is rooted up. Going into the Zhonya's now with Nova Solstice, and so much healing coming through from this Yorick. They're going to take down the Malphite while the rest of the team pushes into the base. Rim Almighty forced the flash out of there. A great performance on the Lucian, but it won't be enough as it is Glacial Globals evening us all up at 1 and bringing us to game 3.
Request, let's see turret damage.
Do you want to see turret damage? Yeah, let's look at it.
Yorick took down 7 towers and 4 inhibitors that game, and damage to turrets 14,000. Not too shabby indeed. Yeah. Damage to objectives 36,000.